Hello and welcome to the CIBSE West Midlands region vlog and podcast. Today's episode has kindly been facilitated by Glenn Hawkins and his article about M&E building services. It's not just M&E. Picture the scene. It's Wednesday the 19th of April around 2 p.m. and I'm standing on the 6th floor of a major commercial development. Below my feet is a raised access floor system and above my head is a suspended ceiling void. As I turn 360 degrees, I see a curtain wall system and the plasterboard walls of the building's central core. A variety of different trades are working on this level of the building. A heavily set man in his 50s wanders over to me. He is the site engineer for the principal contractor, and he says to me, "Why don't people take M&E seriously?" I respond, "You've just provided the answer to your own question." He replies, "What do you mean?" Let me try to explain. M&E or MEP stands for Mechanical and Electrical and Public Health or Plumbing, and it is a commonly used term in the vocabulary of the built environment. It's a catch-all abbreviation intended to represent the incredibly diverse range of engineering systems that bring buildings to life. These systems include air conditioning, lighting, heating, data, water, fire detection, drainage, sprinklers, access control, medical gases, small power, refuse disposal, closed circuit television, sanitary appliances, steam, dry risers, lifts, smoke extraction, compressed air, public address, local ventilation, commercial kitchens and laundries, building management systems and control, cold rooms, lightning protection, intruder alarms, stairwell pressurisation, cinema systems, fuel distribution, escalators, electronic visual displays, water features, the list goes on. For the building where my conversation with the site engineer took place, these systems represent 30% or more of the construction costs. More importantly, if these systems do not function correctly, individually and collectively, the building will not meet the needs of the people that will use it, manage, operate and maintain it. It will just be a dark, dead, useless carcass. Imagine you have two glass pots. In one pot, you place all the money that will be required to deliver these systems on this project. In the other pot, you place all the money required to deliver the structural frame and upper floors, the roof, the external walls, windows and doors, the internal walls, partitions and doors, and the floor finishes. Both glass pots would contain the same amount of money. In this building, there are over 60 different types of these systems that need to be designed, specified, costed, programmed, procured, installed, commissioned, handed over, operated, maintained, and eventually brought out of service. Many types of system occur on multiple times within the building because they serve different spaces, zones, or floors. The building contains hundreds of system-specific assets such as chillers, electric panels, boilers, air handling units, generators, extract fans, UPS units, calorifiers, fan core units, pumps, sinks, chimneys, recording devices, photovoltaic arrays, water storage tanks, and control panels. There are thousands of individual pipework, ductwork, and cabling circuits. These circuits connect tens of thousands of terminal devices such as switches, sockets, detectors, taps, data points, sensors, actuators, floor drains, disabled access buttons, hand dryers, cameras, card readers, light fittings, rainwater inlets, break glass units, air supply grills, and radiators. Collectively, these systems are composed of hundreds of thousands of individual elements, from commodities such as nuts and bolts, anchors, drop rods, unistrut, cable clips, pipe supports, and basket tray, to thermal insulation, fire stopping and labels, through to system-specific fittings for pipework, ductwork, and cable-based systems. Furthermore, the installation and commissioning work associated with complex engineering world is undertaken by a huge range of on-site, off-site systems, system products, manufacturer, material, treatment and validation specialists. There is not just a mechanical tradesman and an electrical tradesman. However, many people working on the delivery of construction projects and in facilities management still try to cram all of this incredible engineering diversity into two categories, M and E. This was a problem 5 decades ago when buildings were technologically less complex. In the 21st century built environment, this dysfunctional oversimplification is a big problem because it adversely affects how construction projects are delivered and how buildings are used, managed, operated and maintained. We do not boil down the complexity of structural engineering into C and B, columns and beams. We don't condense the richness of architect to W and R, walls and roofs. Civil engineering is not compressed to R and T, roads and tunnels. Sustainability is not hollowed out to just E and M, energy and materials. So why would we ever try to use the inappropriate abbreviation M&E for the huge range of systems that, in simple terms, make modern life possible across the planet? I'm not sure whether it is laziness, ignorance, an inferiority complex, or some other factor that has led to the corruption of this incredibly important aspect to the built environment. In the UK, the professional body that represents this engineering world is CIBSE, the Chartered Institution of Building Services Engineers. It's not called the Chartered Institution of M&E Engineers. So we have two terms, building services and M&E. It could be argued that building services provides no greater clarity than M&E about this incredibly diverse engineering world. I think that this misses the crucial point. It is what the term building services does not do that makes it so much better than the term M&E. This is because M&E implies a binary simplicity that does not exist. A system and all the work associated with it cannot be placed in the mechanical or the electrical pot. Let's put the physics about the flow of charged particles to one side for a moment. For a practical project delivery perspective, data, fire detection, closed circuit television, nurse call, building management, refuge alarm, public address and access control systems are no closer to being an electric mains or a power installation system than a sprinkler, medical gas or fume extract system. Cold water, chilled water, hot water, sprinkler and central heating systems all contain water, but they are all fundamentally different mechanical systems with lots of interfaces to other systems. The same principle of difference and interconnectivity applies to ductwork-based mechanical systems, such as ventilation, smoke extract, and air conditioning, and so on for other building services systems. In the built environment, the aim for all the teams is not just to deliver a building on time and on cost. Any building also needs to be operationally ready at handover, perform to suit its required purpose, function efficiently and effectively in the long term. These outcomes are entirely dependent on the correct execution of building services work, and the successful delivery of building services work must be a whole team endeavour. Built environment professionals, both building services and non-building services, therefore need to have a structured way of making sense of the complex world of building services and managing all the work associated with it. All of my training about building services is structured in accordance with the 14 categories of building services defined in the new rules of measurement, the NRM. In all of my career, I believe this is easily the best method that has been developed to make sense of and thereby more successfully manage this complex range of engineering systems. Over 2,000 people from some of the world's leading built environment businesses have attended training courses, and their opinion is overwhelmingly the same. Let's briefly look at the NRM. The NRM provides a standard set of measurement rules and guidance for the management and construction projects and the operation and maintenance of buildings. It's published by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, RICS, or RICS. It provides a structure for the management of work associated with elements of a building, as illustrated by the table. The NRM defines 14 categories of building services. Category 1, sanitary installation, is at one end, and category 14, builders work in connection with services, is at the other end. In between are 12 other categories containing a huge range of individual type systems. There are also 11 categories of external services defined elsewhere in the document, from Category 1, water main supply, to Category 11, builders work in connection with external services. For each of the 12 categories of building services, there are specific subcategories as illustrated by the extract from the material relating to Category 4, water installations. So, system by system, category by category, the NRM creates a world of building services that is structured in a logical way. This system-based framework provides that built environment professionals can design, specify, cost, program, procure, install, commission, hand over, operate and maintain building services in a clear and consistent manner. The NRM is familiar to young people entering built environment professions. An increasing number of companies and project teams are also using it. And yet I'm still amazed to see the work scopes being described in terms of M&E specifications, structured as M&E, quantities being taken and cost plans being configured in terms of M&E, work being planned using M&E programs and M&E contracts being awarded. All of this is characterized by a lack of clarity and consistency in defining things such as technical inputs, performance outcomes, role and responsibilities, money needed, task durations, sequence of work, commissioning logic, maintenance regimes, and skills required. Even within the same organization, I see different offices and project teams produce critical documents like cost plans in a completely different way and without any discernible structure. So the use of the binary term M&E is hugely problematic. When used by building services community, as it still too commonly is, it creates a dysfunctional two-lane starting point for the project execution that undermines the ability to manage work in an effective and efficient way. It also sends a dangerous message from those within the world of building services to all other built environment professionals, a message that this engineering world is simple, insignificant, unimportant, inferior to your world, not worthy of your attention. The remarkable thing about building services is that when delivered correctly, these systems become more than the sum of their parts, something beyond just an assembly of components. They become the key to success for the construction of any building. They become dynamically functioning, interconnected systems that bring buildings to life and make everyday life on Earth possible. Given their incredibly diversity and importance, an absence of structure and clarity is the absolute enemy of efficiency and effective execution of building services work. The question the site engineer posed to me was, why don't people take M&E seriously? The short answer would be because M&E is not a serious term. It is building services that everyone working in the built environment needs to take seriously. Below is a short manifesto to help make this happen. You're working in one of the most technologically rich, challenging, and important aspects of the modern world. Your systems enable buildings such as hospitals, schools, offices, shops, airports, laboratories, data centers, stadiums, and homes to function. You connect and automate the world. You keep people comfortable, safe, secure, and clean. In your hands, you hold the key to a sustainable and fairer future of our planet. Be proud of what you do and take your professionals seriously. Develop a detailed understanding of how your building services world is composed and classified, and take personal responsibility to explain this to other built environment professionals. Only use the term M&E to explain why the term M&E should not be used. For more content, please visit us at cibsewm.org. Text copyright Glenn Hawkins 2023. Copyright in the recording CIBSE West Midlands 2023. All rights reserved. The moral rights of the author have been asserted.